My name is Frater Johnathan Turba. I am a seminarian at St. Norbert Abbey in De Pere, Wisconsin. Yeah, I was teaching in central Wisconsin, and while I was here, I had a connection to the Abbey through a family member. And so I would come to St. Norbert Abbey just once in a while for events at the Spirituality Center. And while I was here, I started to see other guys like me, at least in age, who were a part of the community. And so as I got to know the community, I started to wonder and consider, maybe this is something that I'm called to. I joked that as I was coming here every so often, it started to become more and more frequent to the point that then I just decided to stay. Part of the reason that I thought about religious life was because I have an aunt who's a Franciscan sister. And so seeing her in a habit, seeing just how normal she was my aunt, I think was a big part of it, that it just made me realize that religious life isn't like this special thing that people I've never seen before do, that normal people do this. So that was a big part of it. And then while I was teaching, I felt this inner feeling of something more. I loved what I was doing while I was teaching, but there was something else. And so when I was at St. Norbert Abbey, I think that inner voice, God was speaking to me that this seemed to be a way of finding that something else, that religious life seemed to fit that. And so that's where I started to explore then, was what I loved about teaching and what I saw in religious life seemed to be able to come together in this life. As a seminarian, we have 2 years as novices in our community, and then we have 4 years of studies. And so I'm in the third of those 4 years of studies. And so while I'm studying, I go down to the school that we study at called Catholic Theological Union in Chicago. So we have a theologate, a house. I don't know if theologate's the right word. We have a house down in Chicago, and I go down there and live in our community there and go to classes in Chicago. We'll continue those for the next couple of years yet. It sounds simple, but it's so true. It has to start first with prayer. And even in this life, I'm learning right now, years in formation, that, when I start to feel flustered or, just like I'm working too hard, what's the next thing to do? To just remember that, we go to God first is how we understand where we're being called. To just spend that time. For me, I think for many people, when we can find a real sense of silence, is where we find some inner peace, and then we can really start to listen to what that call is. So I would recommend that, they start to just continue to find ways where they feel called to deepen their spiritual life. If that's attending Mass more regularly, beyond Sundays, to go to daily Mass, see where God speaks in their heart there, to just deepen a prayer life, to spend more time maybe in the morning, in the quiet hours of the morning, just a few minutes even, meditating, praying, and then definitely to seek out a vocation director at a community if you're curious, spiritual director. Discerning absolutely is just like the rest of the Christian life we're called to. That's got to be a life of community. So to find people that can help reflect some gifts back to you and just to explore that. I think an important thing for anyone who's considering religious life, priesthood, to remember is that it's not something that we're called to because we're perfect. A person's not called to this because, like, oh yeah, I'm already all of those things. Here I go. Like, here I come, world. You're welcome. It's not how it works. And I think there's such relief in that. And so for people who are considering it, I would just want them to understand and to realize that this is all about who God is calling us to be and who God makes us to be in whatever way we're called to a vocation. And there's such beauty and such, I think, just incredible hope in that, and recognizing that, if you're called to religious life, to the priesthood, yes, I need to be open to the Spirit, where Jesus is moving in my heart, where God is, creating me to be who God made me to be. But I don't have to make me, that God's doing that. God is making me, and to just trust that, to trust, I may not know what tomorrow looks like, but, God, I trust you with my life, and I trust that you can do amazing things, so you must be able to do something incredible with me too, and to just trust what that is.